Good morning and welcome to Distracted Thoughts. I'm Aaron here with my friend Dathan. Dathan, how are you, sir?
I am doing great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You seem peppy this morning.
I am peppy.
Yeah?
I am, That's exciting. Went and looked at a new building for a business expansion.
Yeah?
And I'm super excited about it. And lots of work to do. Literally, it was like the first step yesterday. So it was a lot of work to do, but I'm still excited about it.
Yeah.
So.
It sounded, I was just saying, talking about it a little bit this morning, it seemed like you've got a whole lot on your plate coming up. Some things that are in your ballpark and some things that are not so much in your ballpark.
Yep,
figuring out.
And my wonderful buddy Aaron here. Good thing is a lot of things that aren't in my ballpark are in your ballpark. So,
well, it was so funny. Like, I watching your body language. Obviously, watching your body language as you said, "Oh, I need to do this, and I need to have it done by a certain time," and I started rambling off some of the things. Okay, this is what that, and I watched you just kind of
sink back into my chair.
and it was like, and it wasn't because I think the enormity of it, but also again that different way of thinking, the different way our brains work, and like, oh yeah, this and this and this and this, and you do this, and this is how it looks, and that funny way, all of our brains work hugely different, right? And for me, I was like, oh yeah, I can see that. This is that. This is, and that's one of those things. Like, I guess it kind of leads into our stuff. So on the opposite side, you're great, dude. I'm so flipping tired. I didn't sleep for shit last night. I'm just restless. I don't know. My brain didn't want to shut down. I had, all kinds of stuff flashing through my head most of the night. And so it's funny how, talking about just watching the way your body language and some of the responses, and then you said the way my brain works, how interesting it is. We're all basically made of the same stuff, right? Like if you were to boil us down to our basic chemicals, varying amounts, but we're essentially made of the same shit.
Yep.
Right? We are. And yet, things that are we function so vastly different, right?
Yeah, we do.
Like, you're a creative guy. You have, in your waking world, you are a very creative person. You think of things ahead of time, right? I'm not so much that. I have it, and I can take other people's stuff and rearrange it and analyze it and make things work. But I'm not as creative when I'm awake. And so that leads me into actually kind of what I wanted to talk about today, which we teased 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, we did.
Dreaming.
Yes.
And so, we know how we've talked about how we work awake. But what about asleep? What are you like? How does your mind work when you're asleep?
So, used to, I'd say 10 to 15 years ago, I'd wake up in the mornings. I would be able to instantly recall my dreams, things I thought about while I was sleeping, stuff like that. Now, I would only be able to recall the gist of the dream. 0 details. I'd never seen faces in my dreams. I'd seen people, but I never seen faces. It was always faces I didn't recognize.
Right.
I would know by the presence of the person who they were, but I couldn't tell you anything about them. Now, when I wake up, I can't remember any of my dreams.
Really?
It's been that way for probably 3 to 4 years. I know I dreamed. I know sitting here that last night I had dreams. But I couldn't tell you what they were under no circumstance. I could not tell you anything about them. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
So it's completely different. Now, I'm going to transition that into, I've tried to, so as you say, I am a very creative person when I'm awake. My
Yes.
mind is racing all the time.
Right.
It's looking at every angle, everything. I'm one of those guys that sits at a restaurant with my facing all the exits so I can see them. I'm just
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm that way. So my mind's so busy during the day that I think what's happening is I'm shutting down at night and literally entering in straight into, what is it, REM sleep, where you
Yeah.
don't get dream.
Right.
Like
You're into a deep sleep. Yeah.
So where you get, it's not REM, it's deep sleep. So
Yeah.
when you're getting the deep sleep where you don't dream, I think my body is literally going almost instantly into that.
Yeah.
Because I've exhausted my thinking capacity throughout the day.
Right.
Now, I've been looking into a lot of just getting quiet with yourself.
Right.
You can call it meditation. You can call it whatever you want. You know what I mean? People call it all kind of stuff. People say, "Oh, you meditate, you're a witch." But whatever, call it whatever you want to. But literally just getting completely quiet.
Right.
Putting in noise canceling earbuds and putting some white noise on or a mellow tone or something.
Right.
And just getting quiet.
Right.
So I did that, like hardcore did that for the first time like 2 days ago.
Okay.
3 days ago.
Yeah.
I've never done it.
Right.
Not like that. I went and got quiet myself out in nature. That's what I always do.
Yeah.
But there's still all kind of stuff going on. So I told myself I'm going to do it for like 10 minutes, right? So I put these in. I sat down in my bedroom in a chair, put them in, sat back, closed my eyes, and just tried to clear my mind, right? A lot of stuff happened,
Okay.
which I was not expecting.
Okay.
I actually hadn't talked to anybody about this yet.
Oh, goody.
It was a glimpse of a brink of something that
Right.
something I don't know. So it took me a little while to get into this relaxed state,
Right.
and then I started seeing. It was like I was staring into darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I was aware I was staring into darkness, and then I would see like light do this. It would be like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I couldn't figure out what was in the light.
Right.
And then there would another one move over here, and it'd get a little brighter and it would different color.
Yeah.
And then then it finally they all come together, and it was something in the middle. And I couldn't bring myself to see what that was.
Right.
Okay. And that took a little while to get to that point. And then I realized that I was not thinking about anything else and I had a pretty stressful day that day.
Right.
Not anything else that I had dealt with that day.
Right.
Like I wasn't thinking about, business stuff or finances or family, or I wasn't thinking about anything. I was literally so focused on this feeling of, all I could explain it as is the light I was seeing was the light inside me.
Right.
Type
right.
deal.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it and it was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I never experienced anything like that. So I finally stop, open my eyes up. 30 minutes have passed.
Oh, you're going to do for like 10 and
I
30.
I didn't set a timer or anything. I was just going to do it for like 10 minutes. 30 minutes had passed.
Huh.
No idea I'd been there for 30 minutes. It felt like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It was interesting. And so I don't know what all that means. I don't know what all that means. But it was almost like I was dreaming, but I was awake.
A waking dream.
A waking dream.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if I was to do something like that right before I fall asleep or right when I get into bed.
Right. Right.
If I will start being able to like see my dreams or remember my dreams or
Right.
hear them or anything like that. Whereas you flip the script and you talk to my wife, my wife remembers every detail of every part of her dream. She can control her dreams. She has learned how to fully control her dreams.
So she's a lucid dreamer.
She is a lucid dreamer. She can remember smells. She remembers down to like, she'll say something like, I was sitting there reading a book and I was reading this chapter and this line and this is what I was reading in my head. And then all of a sudden this happened. And I'm like, you remember those kind of details?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So, which also makes me think that's why she's tired when she wakes up in the morning, because she's been running all night in her dreams. But I don't know.
Well,
So what about you?
So I'm more like your wife.
Okay.
So when I dream, and I dream most every night, My dreams are as clear as memories.
Wow.
So I'm not. I don't necessarily control them. So I'm not as far as your wife
Yeah.
is in the ability to control it. But when I dream, it may as well be real. I can remember it as clear as a conversation you and I have had. The things I've done are as real as if I'd done them in real life. And so my dreams, I know they're a dream, and yet I can recall everything in them as if I had done that very thing the previous day. And so that it's essentially it's like I said, it's the same as my mind is creating memories of different things, different scenarios that played out, different conversations that I've had. It is understanding that, okay, that conversation didn't actually happen, but I've had that conversation with somebody, or what my mind believes that person to be, right? Especially, and it's often with somebody that I know well. Like you talked about, there's faces, but I don't really know them, or no, mine are almost always with people that I know, and I'm a talker, right? I talk, I analyze things, I observe everything that's going on around me. The creative side doesn't necessarily get used as much. It's more a matter of putting things together, putting pieces together. And in that way, I actually think my mind is completing some of those memories, some of the information that I may have taken in through the day. Now needs a place to go. It needs a place to be assimilated, right?
Oh,
it needs a
okay.
place to be categorized in a way. And so it will create dreams that basically take that information and create a type of memory out of it that to me is as real as anything I've had, because, hey, this, we spend about an hour and a half together, right? But there are times we've had conversations in my head based on how I know you. We had conversations in my head for hours, literally for hours, right? And saying that out loud makes me sound insane. but that's the way I dream. In particularly stressful times, I may not sleep. So you talked about, so there are actually three different levels of sleep. REM sleep is actually where you're dreaming.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, REM is the lightest sleep. You're barely asleep. Your brain is still functioning. Your eyes are moving. You're actually analyzing all the information. There's a light sleep, and that you're asleep. Your brain is not nearly as active. You're still there, but that's actually where you spend quite a bit. And then there's a deep sleep. You're supposed to spend time in all three, a little bit for healthy brain function. That's the psychology coming out. But people like your wife and I spend more time in that light sleep, in that REM sleep. It's not restful. You don't actually go all the way. You need to go all the way to deep sleep to feel a little bit more rested to be able to come back. But on the other side, if you spend too much time in deep sleep, I bet you're a bear to wake up when you don't dream.
I used to be.
I used to be.
With a 4-year-old, you don't get a choice. Like, they don't go away.
Right.
Like, they start knocking on my bedroom door, and he stands there at the door.
Yeah.
Are you going to get him feed me? Are you going to get him feed me? Like, I didn't feed him right before he went to bed.
Right.
Like the boy's starving. And then I get up, cook him breakfast, and he eats 3 bites of it, and he's full.
Right.
It's more like my 4-year-old doesn't like to be alone.
Okay.
He wants to be around people.
Right.
He is just that person.
Right.
So I would rather sleep.
Right.
I'm excited for them to get older and us be able to sleep in.
Right.
But 6:30, 7 o'clock every
Yeah.
morning, he's at the door knocking on the door. But if I didn't have that,
Right.
yes, I don't want to get out of bed.
So just as you're so 6:30, 7 o'clock is normal. You'd like to sleep in. This is gonna sound really funny. So this morning I got up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. I'm tired. Yesterday I was awake at 5 a.m. completely refreshed, feeling great. And I woke up very naturally, kind of easy. I have an alarm set for 6 just in case. But I was more refreshed, more rested when I woke up naturally and earlier
Yeah.
than if I had, like I said, this morning, 6:30, got out of bed, and I'm like I said,
Yeah. I haven't had an alarm set for me to wake up in probably 3 years. I haven't, but I have kids who have a natural alarm.
right,
But like, I don't even sleep with my phone in my room anymore.
right.
Like, I've started sleeping. It charges in the living room. I don't
Right,
even
so
sleep
you
with my
guys
phone.
put it on the mantle.
Yeah. I put it on the side table because it's the only place there's a plug in. But
Right.
But I don't anymore sleep with it in my room.
Right.
What I've noticed is, and I just started finally getting back to that. I got to where I was sleeping with it right beside my bed. But when I would wake up in the middle of the night, because I am a restless sleeper. I wake up, but I'm only awake for seconds.
Right.
Like, I can go right back to sleep. If I
Right.
wake up in the middle of the night, I'm just not going to keep me
So
up.
that's Megan. My wife, Megan, is like that. She's like that.
Yeah, and I know I'm awake, and then I'm right back to sleep.
Yeah.
It drives my wife crazy. My wife wakes up in the middle of the night, she's up.
Right.
But what I would do is when I would wake up in the middle of the night, I would get anxious about looking over at my phone to see what time it is,
Right.
to know how much more sleep I could get.
Right.
Now that my phone's not in my room, I wake up as I'm rolling over and I go right to sleep. There's no anxiety, there's nothing. And it's actually keeping me in a deeper sleep all the time.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's good or bad. I do know that if I get more than about 7 hours of sleep, I don't have a good day the next day.
Yeah.
I run well on 5.5 to 7 hours of sleep.
Right.
My wife only runs well on 12 hours of sleep. It seems like it's not really that much. But
Yeah.
She goes to bed at like 9:30.
Yeah.
And she doesn't fall asleep till usually like 10:30 or so. But
Right.
then she sleeps till the same time I do in the morning.
Right.
So she gets 8.5 to 9 hours of sleep. But she's in REM sleep most of the time. So
Right.
it's not rest.
Right.
And whereas me, I go straight into deep sleep almost within 20 to 30 minutes. And I know that because I was wearing a smartwatch for a while.
Right.
And it would track you when you were in REM sleep and all that.
Yeah.
And my REM sleep was like that long.
Yeah.
And then my deep sleep was like that long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
20 to 30 minutes of REM, and then it was deep sleep all night. It would have like a peak of like, woke up, right back to deep sleep. There was not even a REM sleep going back into deep sleep.
I actually quit wearing my watch because I've started becoming obsessed with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My wife actually does, but it's better for her because she's needed to get some different type of rest. And so we've been able to track, and she's actually been getting some better sleep than she's gotten before. Like we talked about it last night. Like we were talking this morning, and like I said, I'm a little blah, and she's like, "Oh man, I slept great." And she looked at her watch, and I mean, like she was all in. She had very little REM sleep, all light or deep sleep, and she woke up feeling like $1 million this morning. She woke up feeling great. I'm like, you suck.
Yeah.
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 So I was just sitting here thinking, so because your wife is such a lucid dreamer and you have to be a part of her dreams, do you ever get in trouble for things you did?
Not anymore. Not anymore. Our relationship has advanced so far in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I can't even put it into words. Like
Right.
I hope and pray that there are lots of other couples out there who are the same way we are with our communication and the way we are with each other, because I can't believe we were ever any other way. And we've been together 20 years now.
Yeah.
So, and we are more in sync now than we ever have. Now, to go back a year ago,
Yeah.
yes, I would have to apologize for things I did in a dream because she would take them and commit them to memory.
They're like memories.
And she would know that I didn't really do it, but it would still cause the same emotion in her
Yep.
to be mad or to be sad or to be
Yep.
upset. And she still does that. Sometimes she'll wake up if she has like a bad dream about one of the kids.
Right.
She'll wake up like distraught and sad and like over coffee. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
going on?
Yeah.
And she'll kind of tell me about it. And I'm like, well, you know that didn't really happen. She's like, but it feels like it did.
Yes, and it does.
And so it's hard for me because I can't wrap my head around that. I don't understand. It didn't happen. So like to me, I've got like a switch. It didn't really happen. It was just a thought. Turn it off.
Right.
That it's just my personality, the way my brain works. For her, it's not that way.
No.
And I have definitely. She's hit me before in my sleep, and she doesn't hit me anytime.
Right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But she's like stop, and she'll like hit my arm or something, and I'm like, and I'll wake up and I'm like. What? She's like, I'm sorry, I was dreaming. I was like, what was I doing? She's like, just go back to sleep.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
And it's usually like I'm doing something like goofy, like picking on her or something like
Right,
that, messing
right.
with her. Not anything major, but yeah, it was
Because for her, and I can understand that, because for her, it is a memory. It's as real as any memory, and in some cases, it's even more real. Because your mind is completely in it. That's why I said I'm, that idea of, you're in trouble because some part of her has pulled apart your personality enough. Your wife's an improv comedian. That requires her to understand people in a way that people don't even understand themselves.
exactly
Right?
That's the best explanation for that.
Right. And so that comes through in her sleep, in her time with you, in time with friends. And when her mind, because she spends so much time observing people, watching the things that they don't even necessarily know about themselves, she's created mini versions of all the people she knows in her mind. Now, obviously, people are way more complex than that,
Yeah.
right? But her mind has created many versions of you, me, your kids, my wife, other friends,
Yeah.
right? She's created many versions that live in her dreams, in her memories, as the way she sees us as people. Because my mind does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I have a version.
And a lot of it's subconscious.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like I have a version of you in my head, right? What that looks like. And that sounds, that sounds
Sounds like this needs to be created. This is to have an AI animated cartoon created with all these little mini versions of people.
Right. But that's so much of it. And so, yeah, when you're in trouble for something, it's her analysis of you through the things that she's seen, past, present, future, and sometimes that stuff comes up in, like I said, in ugly ways. Depending on some of our last interactions or different things that have gone on. I'm with you. Me and my wife have been together for 21. Well, we've been together for 23 years, but married for 21. But the last year, 6 months to a year, has been a tenfold change in our relationship. Like we are more in tune with each other than we ever have been. But what I'm noticing is I'm now in trouble less from her dreams than I was before.
Yeah.
Like before, my wife would do the same thing. I'm mad at you. For what? Well, you did something in my dream. I didn't actually do that, right? Yeah, I know. And now it's like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It does.
You still talk about it, but it's not, the emotion is not heightened.
Yeah, it's not there as much. He said the fact that I think the interesting fact is your wife is the lucid dreaming. It's actually probably more memory for her because she's actually in control. Like mine, it's autopilot. My brain has also created a mini version of me that I'm watching go through the motions. I'm watching go through.
Yeah, you're more of an observer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But my mind is just like it's created a mini version of you, of my wife, of these different characters.
Are we really tiny when you say mini version? I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I know what you mean. I just think about these little bitty. Have you seen the AI characters that created that have like little big heads with little bitty bodies? I just imagine those shows running around like
Okay.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
If my next dream is like that, I'm gonna blame you. My next
Yes.
dream, if my next dream comes out and I basically have bobbleheads running around in my dream, it's gonna be your fault.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Yes.
blame
Yes.
you, and I will be
I will
right.
take responsibility for it.
And that's gonna happen. You know,
eyes are watering. Thinking about it, I'm getting all kind of visual pictures.
and that and so because the other side of that, and I don't know, you might ask your wife this too, because the other part of that is, I guess I'm a little, because I'll ask questions like, so you're a creative person, Josh, Matt, the guys, right? You may not be available, or I may be working through a problem. I'll actually ask questions, and you will answer based on how I know you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I will I will answer based on the way my subconscious would answer that.
Right. Yeah.
That you know.
That I know. The guy that
Yeah.
I know. So I need to work out a creative problem, or I need to work through something creative, which tells me that there's. That's my. I need a. Josh, I'm sorry. If I need a big brain thinker that's thinking way up here, then that's who it creates.
Yeah.
Is somebody like Josh, because, hell, my last conversation with him was, we were talking about time and in time and out of time, and like you don't have those kind of conversations, like high time and Chronos and different.
I just had this conversation with my wife. We just dug into time and how time doesn't actually exist.
No.
And relative time and the here and now isn't actually here and now, and
No.
because it's different for everybody, and that's a whole nother.
Well,
I've been watching too much Neil deGrasse.
It's a subjective measurement.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that doesn't actually exist.
So
but anyway,
go ahead.
no, and so there is part of that goes, okay, if I'm able to create that version of you, does that mean that it's in me? Maybe, but that's not the part that I use most of the time. Mine is the me is very analytical. You've seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The part of me that comes out very naturally, very easily is the one that says, oh, here's a puzzle, or here's a thing. Let's take these pieces and let's organize these pieces. It's not necessarily as creative. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist at least a little bit.
Yeah.
But I have to go someplace.
So you saying that just made me think, I can't wait to create one of our escape rooms. And it's going to be a fully creative based escape room and not a logical thinking escape room. And then I'm going to stick you in it.
I lose.
It's gonna have nothing to do with logic, and nothing to do with like this piece fits to this piece. It's just
I would lose.
Yeah, because I'm definitely gonna have to like lean on, like get other people to build these. I'm thinking about that now. These escape rooms I'm talking about doing, I'm gonna have to get other people to build them, because if I build them the way my mind works, the majority of people, because I'm a small gene pool when it comes to, or a small pool of people when it comes to, I'm gonna call it super fire starters. Like I'm constantly starting.
Right.
Constantly.
Right.
Like that's just where I live all the time. And I mean, this is like a 1 to 2% of the people that do this.
Right.
So if I start creating something like that in like an escape room where other people who are the other percentage have to come in and actually figure it out, they're going to lose. Nobody's going to succeed. So,
well, and that's where like 10 to 15% of the population is like me, is the super analyzers.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in the upper, that upper creative, but I'm in the 10 to 15% of people that are super analyzers, like literally can tear things apart and look at them in pieces and then
down to a micro scale.
And be able to lay them out. So that's still that blows me, like you and I being such good friends and being so vastly different. And
I don't think we could be good friends if we were the same.
That's true.
I just don't.
No,
That's
and
true. And people like me really need people like you because it's hard for the people like me who there's not a big pool of to communicate with the. So you've got, if you look at it in three different ways, you've got the 1-2%ers up here, then you've got the 10 to 15 to 20% here, and then you've got the other 80.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially in business, for people like me who they're fire starters and who see 5 to 7 steps ahead,
Right.
to communicate with the people down here that are the everyday clock in workers that literally have one job to do.
Right.
Because I'm thinking 6 steps ahead of what this person should be doing.
Right.
And they haven't figured out step 1 yet.
Right.
And so I have to have those people in between because they're almost like interpreters.
Yeah.
Because they can take what I'm thinking, turn it into analytics, turn it into steps, turn it into processes, and allow those people to do it where I'm like, why aren't they done with the process and they didn't even figure out how to start it?
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because that's actually one of the. I actually say often that's one of my gifts is interpretation. It is being able to sit down either with married couples, individuals, those super high thinkers like yourself, and being able to say, okay, I see where you're going, and being able to communicate it and say, hey. This is what he just said. This is kind of where you're going, and maybe this is how you should look at it.
Yeah.
And being able to talk through it. And I do that kind of crap all the time.
Yeah.
That's the world I live in is actually doing.
And you're excellent at it. So like we were talking earlier, like I have gifts, you have gifts. As the older I've got, the more I realize, listen, I need to focus on what I'm good at.
Yeah.
And I need to have people who are good at the things I'm not.
Right.
We can both do them both.
Yeah.
But we're not great at what we're not great at. That's all there is to it. You know, I just, not transitioning, but kind of getting back onto the dreams and stuff like that. Well, so I just started reading, I just started reading a book called Becoming Supernatural.
Okay.
By, I got to look up his name. I'm horrible with authors' names. Something else I'm not good at. By Joe Dispenza.
Never heard of him.
Okay. And I wanted to read something that was not business, wasn't complete science fiction, but kind of made you think outside of the norm. And so I got recommended this book by someone that, you know, my wife actually recommended the author, and I looked the book up, and I was like, okay, I'll try this one. And then I was at Coffee and Concepts down at the Den, and I mentioned this, and like 4 other guys who were super successful business people was like, this is a great read to get outside of the thinking of the analytic world, you know? But one of the things that I'm only like 2 chapters in, it's like I don't know how many chapters, a lot of chapters, is huge. But one of the things they did was, we're talking about how thoughts can become memories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they ran experiments, and like Cambridge or something did this, and they took a pool of like 30 people, and one of the ones they did is for an hour a day for 3 weeks. Now all these 30 people had never touched a piano, never played, never taken any lessons.
Right.
For an hour a day for 30 days, I think it was 30 days. 15 of the people practiced a simple, small 5-finger, I don't know anything about piano, but 5-finger chord, like just to play, like a little tune to play. Okay?
Right.
The same exact one every day for an hour for 30 days.
Okay.
The other 15 people were not allowed to touch a piano for those 30 days, but they were showed a video of how to do it with your hands and what keys to do it, and they had to close their eyes and be quiet for an hour a day and visualize their hands doing those movements.
Right.
Okay. At the end of 30 days, both groups of people could play it on a piano exactly the same amount.
Huh.
And one group only visualized it.
Right.
The other group got to actually touch the piano. And what they were doing is testing do visualizing something over and over again, or as doing it as you're actually doing it, actually create muscle memory and create a memory in your brain that you can do.
Right.
And that was one test. The other was they put arm cast, like from fingertips to mid-arm, on same people, 30, not same people, 30 people. They told 15 of them to do nothing. Just you gotta wear an arm cast for 30 days.
Right.
The other 15, they said, all right, I want you for an hour a day to pretend, because you can't move your wrist, but pretend like you're working that wrist out with tension bands. And so you can't move it, but in your mind, you're visualizing that you're working it out.
Right.
At the end of those 30 days, the 15 people who did nothing had lost like 20% of muscle atrophy. Atrophied.
Yeah.
The others lost none.
Huh.
And it was just showing how powerful the brain is, how powerful that visualizing doing something.
Right.
So taking that into dreams,
Yeah.
if you're dreaming and it's your brain is turning it into memories or holding it as it actually happened.
Right.
Yes, it's going to affect your day to day. Yes, it's going to affect your emotions. Yes, it's going to affect if it was a stressful dream or if it was an exhausting dream. If you were digging fence post holes all throughout your dream with a whole bunch of people, you're going to wake up tired the next day.
Yeah.
So it's thinking about things like that.
That's funny. I have had those kind of dreams and I've actually woken up physically sore.
Exactly. Like physically sore. So your brain is doing the same thing with your muscles.
Yeah.
It's releasing the same amount of chemicals as if you were actually doing the work.
Right.
And so it was just, like I said, I'm only 2 chapters into this, and but I got a feeling this book's going to deep dive into a lot of, because he does like boot camps and seminars and things like that, but deep dive into a lot of your brain naturally healing yourself, the abilities that God has created in us.
Yeah.
That our brain is more powerful than we actually use it for.
Absolutely.
And
by far.
Because one of his first stories was how a lady cured over 2 years she cured herself of cancer, using literally like meditation and brain and got off all medicine. And it's a world known case. But she cured herself of all kind of stuff. But her brain also created all of that. She had trauma from her husband killing herself. And for 2 years, she was in this deep depression and she made herself sick because of, so just changing the way she thought changed the way her body functioned.
Well, and
the chemicals her body released.
And I can see that with even my clientele on some basis, the physical manifestation of things that they've gone through and being able to undo and rewire essentially some of that thinking and it having a profound physical impact for them down the road, later on.
Yeah.
And seeing the difference. I think that's, again, the subconscious visualization, which is sleeping, the one that we're not necessarily in control of versus the actual physical. There's not a lot of difference. We're basically doing the same thing.
And your brain releases the same amount of same type of chemicals,
right?
Doing both of them,
right?
So,
yeah, interesting.
So I'm curious to see where the book goes.
Yeah,
I listened. I'm a listen to it on audio, and so twice a week I drive 3 hours in the car back and forth to Coeur d'Alene. So I can knock out a book, in a week or two. Yeah. So I got 3 hours in to listen to it. It's an 11-hour listen. So I got 3 hours into listening to it. So
that's funny.
I'm curious to see where it goes, and
that's funny because I listen to similar type books. One of the ones that I listen to it's a book called Habit. It's been around for a long time. Big red cover or yellow cover. It's called Habit. And basically it's the power of routine and visualizing changes. And like there's one story in there of a lady who divorced and basically life was falling apart. And through changing one little thing and visualizing the changes throughout, she quit smoking. She ran a marathon. She went on vacation to like Egypt and things like that. And it's all because she changed one little thing in the beginning that cascaded into more.
He
more
talks
things.
about that in, I think, chapter 3. He starts talking about that we create different brains.
Yes.
So like our body, like when we get in our car and we drive to work. Mm-hmm. We activate a part of our brain that has implemented a routine that is exactly the same. That's why you'll hear people say, and I drove all the way to work. It was 40 minutes. I don't even remember driving. Yep. I don't remember passing anything. Yep. It's because you're an autopilot. You went into autopilot, and he talks about that by breaking routines by doing something random that's not in the routine.
Right.
So he talks about it. He's like, if you've got a 30-minute commute to work, leave, let your auto brain kick in, and then you see a row of flowers on the side of the road, pull over.
Yeah.
Pull over and walk and go over there and pick a flower, or go over there and just stand. He goes, and stand there for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
He goes, get back in your car. He goes, little things like that will deactivate the routine in your brain that you've
Right.
created, and will cascade, same thing you're talking about,
Yeah.
into changes in the rest of your life. You won't automatically kick into, now I'm at work and this brain is in. It'll change your entire thinking of how you are.
Right.
I'm
So
getting into your world here.
No, it's funny. It's funny because talking about, so that's one of the things, talking about changing things and changing the way we think and creating new memories and going different places. So one of the things, it's funny you should say that, because one of the changes that Megan and I made last year, you know how many ways there are to get from here to Naples? How many different roads there are to get from?
I think there's one. Because, see, I think there's one because I've only driven one.
There's five. But for specifically that reason, so when we would drive down that way, because I have family down there, our property
Well, I guess
is down
two
there.
if you take Deep Creek.
Right.
Okay.
Well, there's two ways to get to. There's two ways just on Deep Creek.
Oh, see, yeah, see.
Yeah. I mean, there's varying
Yeah,
lengths and varying ways to get there, but there are 5 different paths,
Wow.
different ways to intertwine through. That's actually one of the things that changed some things. Is because we, in our marriage, we had gotten into some patterns. It's like we need to change some things. So I would not drive the same way to Naples twice in a row.
Huh.
If I went this way this
Yeah.
time, and so, okay, now I have one of 4. I have one of the other 4 options, right? I have a couple of different paths. Well, last night we went to go check on our property, and I actually went out through Cow Creek, around Paradise Valley, and down Brown Creek, and that way.
Oh.
Because you can get there that
never went that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get there that way. Is it longer? Yeah, it's a little bit longer, but guess what? It's a different path.
Yeah. And it forced you to actually pay attention.
Yes.
Whereas you wasn't an autopilot.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that, so someone told me that one time years ago, and I didn't put any thought into it. It's so weird how they said something that I'm about to tell you, and I've never put any thought into it till just now when you said this. It's weird how things like that
Yeah.
happen. So he would commute. It was a friend of mine. We were in Texas. He drove 45 minutes from Dayton, Texas to Houston for work every day. And there was multiple ways to get there.
Yeah.
But he always took the same way because it was fastest. It was the interstate,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what I've started doing is I will put my work address into my navigation. And then when it pops up, I can choose an alternate route. And I'll just randomly choose an alternate route and then take it.
Right.
And he goes, and I noticed so much different stuff, and it
Yeah.
changed my whole work atmosphere when I get to work.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't think nothing about it. Whatever, cool. This was like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
But now coming back to this is
Yeah.
a very similar thing.
Yeah. It is truly fascinating. You said those different things that are created, and going back the idea of dreams and memory creation, things like that. What will it do to fire up? Like you're starting to meditate, try different pathways to do things. What will it create in you, in somebody that's creative, to add more to it?
Yeah, it's absolutely. I don't even know where it could go.
Yeah.
But it could go a lot of places.
It could.
It's cool.
It absolutely could. But unfortunately, we got to cut it a little bit short today.
I know.
I have an appointment. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
I have an appointment. So, Dathan, dude, last thoughts.
Last thoughts. Oh man. Think about your dreams. This has opened up a whole new book for me and a whole new world for me. Share your way of dreaming. If you're married or have a partner or whatever, share your way of dreaming with them so that they could better understand you.
Right.
and vice versa. A lot of them, and don't think it's crazy when your partner is completely different than you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what the way they dream. But share it with them. It'll help open up your communication.
Yeah.
Because now that I understand how my wife dreams, I can better understand her emotions after she's dreamed all night.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it makes a world of difference. And again, those there's no right or wrong way, just your way, the way you think through. And try it. Yeah, if you don't dream at all, maybe you should do something about it.
I'm trying.
But dive into it, understand it a little more. But with that, we're going to end this episode of
Yep.
Distracted Thoughts. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.